996-5555, Jacksonville. He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Monday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. A Monday that sees us celebrating, I guess, right? A Jaguar victory yesterday over the Tennessee Titans. Come to find out, the Jaguars sweeping the Titans this year. Do you realize that is only the fourth time in 30 years of Jaguar-Titan football that the Jaguars have swept the season series from the Tennessee Titans, and that's the second time it's happened in the last 3 years. So Doug Peterson, he knows how to beat Tennessee, right? He's 5-1 against the Titans. He's just struggled with a lot of other aspects of his job. But nevertheless, the Jaguars get a victory yesterday, and I know it affects draft positioning. We'll get into that in a moment. I believe the Jaguars were third going into yesterday. I believe they're sixth coming out of yesterday. The way I look at it is this, and I kind of changed my tone towards the end of last week. Did I want the Jaguars to win the game yesterday? I can't say that I wanted them to, but I did feel good for the fan base, man. I did feel good for you, the hardworking men and women that support this team, particularly the ones of you that braved it going to Everbank Stadium yesterday to see two teams with a combined 6 wins in what was an absolute monsoon at times in downtown Jacksonville. If you went out there and braved the elements, you deserve to see a Jaguar victory. They gave you that. It's good to beat the Titans anytime, no question about that. And, you look at it, 4 wins, yeah, that sucks. But 3 of those wins have come against the AFC South. You've already swept Tennessee, and you have the opportunity coming up this Sunday in the regular season finale in Indianapolis to sweep the Indianapolis Colts as well and finish 4-2 in the division. Now, that would be a huge indictment already on the AFC South, because if you win 4 games in the division and you only win 5 overall, yuck. But that is at least some intrigue going into the regular season finale. Already swept Tennessee. Could you also sweep Indianapolis? We'll certainly get into that more as the week goes on. Got a lot to talk about, including Brian Thomas Jr. And does the win yesterday affect Shad Khan's decision-making whatsoever? As we all know, Black Monday in the National Football League, the day that most things happen when it comes to GMs and coaches being replaced. That usually does happen the Monday after the regular season ends, which would be 1 week from today. So it should be a very interesting 7-day period here with the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're on with you at 10 o'clock tonight. Guest lineup looks like this. Coming up in less than 15 minutes, Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com, will join me as we'll review the game yesterday with Tennessee. We'll briefly look ahead to Indianapolis, but we'll certainly spend a lot of time on the futures of General Manager Trent Baalke and head coach Doug Peterson. That comes up with Brian Sexton. Also, it's Monday night. That means a little Monday night coaching with Campo. My buddy Dave Campo, former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, he will join me right at the top of the 9 o'clock hour. So we're absolutely loaded. We're glad you're with us. It's kind of an emotional moment for me. Dylan Denmark. Denmark, I walked in tonight and I thought, man, I haven't seen you in a while. Come to find out, yeah, it has been almost 2 weeks. Our schedules have been a little different with the holidays and things. It's good to see you, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. I was excited to tell you about the Orlando Magic and how they've been doing lately.
Yes. As a matter of fact, what an emotional win for the Magic yesterday. I'm doing the 5th quarter. Let me take you deep inside the business here. I'm doing the 5th quarter yesterday with Leon Searcy here on 1010XL, and the Magic are down 1 with 6 seconds to go, and we happen to be coming back from commercial break. So I make this really elaborate point, Denmark, about Brian Thomas Jr. in hopes that Leon will make an even more elaborate point so that I can watch the last 6 seconds of Orlando and Brooklyn. And Orlando did get the win. So it was a great day for me yesterday. The Jaguars get a win. Orlando got a big come from behind win. And absolutely, I will keep you updated. Now, they don't play again till Wednesday. So you'll have to wait later in the week for more Orlando Magic conversations. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No, because it is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
There's a lot to get into about yesterday's game. I mean, what can you really say that hasn't been said about Brian Thomas Jr.? The dude is a stud. You know, the wide receiver one, that conversation is now put to bed. When you join the conversation and you join the history books with Odell Beckham Jr., Jamar Chase, and Randy Moss, and that is what Brian Thomas did yesterday. Only the fourth NFL wide receiver in the Super Bowl era as a rookie to have over 1,100 yards receiving his rookie year and catch over 10 touchdowns or 10 or more touchdowns his rookie year, joining Beckham, Chase, and Moss as the only other wide receivers to do that in the Super Bowl era. You've got a dog, man. You've got a dude on this team. And that is exactly what the Jacksonville Jaguars have. They have a dude in Brian Thomas Jr. Mason Smith is coming on as of late, right? Was obviously disappointing the first 2 months of the year. Has really come on as of late. Had another quarterback sack. Jarian Jones continues to play well. Cam Little, the 6th-round pick out of Arkansas, the kicker, my goodness, one of the best kickers in the league, right? What is he, 24 of 26 on field goals this year with a long of 59? He's been very, very good. You look at other young players on this team. Some played yesterday, some did not. But you look at what you can be excited about. Walker Little, Anton Harrison, right? Ventrell Miller, obviously Trayvon Walker, Devin Lloyd with an interception. We know what Tyson Campbell can bring to the table. Monteric Brown did some nice things. Tank Bigsby, obviously, running hard. Travis Etienne. You know, I just rattled off, what was that, 15 guys, roughly, that was rattled off there. You know what every one of those guys has in common? Every one of them that I just rattled off, they all were drafted by Trent Baalke. Look, I think Trent Baalke's probably in trouble. I think he deserves to be in trouble. I think he's probably going to be gone in a week. I think he probably should be gone. I fell on that sword. I supported Trent Baalke this offseason. That kind of blew up in my face. But I do want to point out, in the interest of fairness, for all the young players on this football team that we're excited about, particularly a guy like Brian Thomas Jr., don't you have to give Trent Baalke a little bit of credit in drafting all these guys? I mean, Brian Thomas is a home run, right? That's a grand slam. For the 23rd pick in the draft, that is an absolute grand slam. In the interest of fairness, Trent Baalke probably deserves a thumbs up for that, correct? Jarian Jones, Cam Little, Mason Smith. Again, Ventrell Miller, Trayvon Walker, Tank Bigsby, Travis Etienne. Regardless of what you think of Brenton Strange, some people think there is promise there still, right? Now, Baalke is not without flaw. His free agent acquisitions were awful this year, from Eric Armstead to Gabe Davis to Ronald Darby. They were not good. He's also made some questionable draft picks, no question about that. It has not worked here. His win-loss record as the Jaguar general manager is bad. But I was noticing, at least myself yesterday, and thinking about all the young guys that I'm personally excited about moving forward. I thought, I'm naming a lot of Trent Baalke draft picks. Just food for thought on the 30th day of December here in 2024. When it comes to Doug Peterson, again, I don't think the win yesterday means a lot for his future either. I think that decision has probably already been made. Again, I don't think Doug Peterson all of a sudden forgot how to coach. I don't think Doug Peterson necessarily is a bad coach. I just think that it has not worked out here. When you coach 50 regular season games and you've lost 28 of them, that is not good, right? 22-28 is his record as 50-game regular season head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I believe a change there is probably warranted too in the next week or so. But again, it was nice to win the game. And Doug Peterson is 5-1 against the Tennessee Titans. Doug Peterson has beaten the Titans far more often than any other Jaguar coach in franchise history. Any one of them. I think the Jaguars only have 26 wins against the Titans all time. Doug Peterson has 5 of those 26 in the last 3 years. Again, food for thought on December 30th here in the year 2024. When it comes to the rumors about Peterson and Baalke, I talk to a lot of people, right? A lot of people. And you talk to 10 people, you might literally get 7 or 8 different opinions on what's going to happen. Very few crossovers. But the one thing I come back with is the silence from Shad Khan and people around Shad Khan. I believe that anybody that tells you they know what Shad Khan is going to do probably doesn't. They're speculating. Because, again, I talk to a lot of people and I've heard a lot of different opinions on the subject. The one thing, though, that I can't get over is this. At this point of the year, things do tend to seep out a little bit. Whether it's Mike McCarthy probably being safe in Dallas, whether it's Brian Callahan probably being safe in Tennessee, whether it's Antonio Pierce probably still being in trouble in Las Vegas. People talk this time of year. Information gets leaked out this time of year. That's why we know about the inner workings, at least reportedly in Dallas, in Tennessee, in Las Vegas. Again, I don't think we know here in Jacksonville. But I believe, and I could be wrong about this, but I do believe that if Shad Khan were leaning on keeping Baalke and Peterson, if he was leaning on keeping them both, certainly, something would have probably come out now about that. For the life of me, I cannot imagine a scenario, if it remains this quiet, where win or lose against Indianapolis on Sunday, we wake up Monday morning and a statement is released, bam, Baalke and Peterson are being retained for 2025. I can't believe that's going to happen. You would think news would begin sifting out a couple of days, if not a week or so in advance of that to A, prepare the fan base, get a pulse of the fan base on that. The more time that goes by that we still really don't have a good feel as to what's going to transpire, at least to me, history would show that's probably not good for Baalke and or Peterson. Again, could be wrong about that. But again, if you had to pin me down right now, the fact that there are no reports coming out about the safety of the GM or the head coach here in Jacksonville, like we've heard in Dallas, like we've heard in Tennessee, like we've heard in other NFL markets that's being reported, that leads me to believe that change is likely on the horizon. We're going to find out soon, though. Again, Black Monday in the National Football League 1 week from today. The Jaguars have one regular season game to go against the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday. That game now scheduled for 1 o'clock because it has no playoff implications. And, of course, you'll hear it right here on 1010XL. Let's talk with Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com, one of my favorites to talk Jaguar football. Let's review the Tennessee game. Let's briefly preview Indianapolis. And let's talk Brian Thomas Jr., let's talk Trent Baalke, and let's talk Doug Peterson. And we'll do that with Brian Sexton next on a Monday night in Jacksonville, Florida, with Dylan Denmark, the hacker Ryan Green with you. Jacksonville, we're glad you're with us right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
If offense and defense don't win the game, sometimes it's up to the special team.
And here comes the field goal team. They've got to hurry.
After the game, catch the Crown Royal Special Teams Player of the Game. Live generously and life will treat you royally on 1010XL.
Electricians, innovators, and tech enthusiasts, listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, where your skills meet our vision, and equal opportunity employer.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician, Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Regular movement is key to so many health benefits. Aim for at least 10,000 steps a day. Decide to only take the stairs if you're walking less than 6th floor. Never park in the first 10 spaces of the parking lot. Walk during your work breaks. Get up 10 minutes earlier in the morning and take a short, brisk walk before the chaos of the day starts. There are so many easy ways to stay active. Let's get moving, Jacksonville.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
It's the final days to get inflation fighter savings at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. The final days to save thousands with just $500 down and $288 per month for a pre-owned 2021 Toyota Corolla. Or you choose a pre-owned 2021 Camry, RAV4, or Tacoma for $500 down and $388 per month. Don't wait. The final days of inflation fighter savings are here. So get to Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned today. Shop in person 10939 Atlantic Boulevard or online at arlingtontoyota.com.
Grinding out good grades can be just as challenging as winning games. That's why 1010XL salutes the Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists and the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234. Wednesdays on The Frangie Show.
What is the most populated city in the world? The answer next.
When you file a claim with Southern Oak Insurance, we schedule one of our trusted vendors to work directly with you, which means a faster claim resolution. Find out more at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours, Southern Oak Insurance.
With a population of an astounding 37.7 million people, Tokyo, Japan is the most populated city in the world.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro-Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projaxroofingfl.com.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA GA going slower.
Izervay or avacin-capted Pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
Mia here for Dreamfinders Homes. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now is your chance to lock down the rate and get in the game. You heard me right, a 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershome.com for more details.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Colts in the regular season finale comes up this Sunday. The Jaguars coming off a win yesterday over the Tennessee Titans. It's always good to sweep the Titans. I believe only the fourth time the Jaguars have swept the Titans in 30 years of Titan-Jaguar rivalries. And the Jaguars look to end on a positive note. They could sweep the Colts as well to get their fourth win in the AFC South. With that, Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Brian, hope you had a happy holidays, man. How are you?
I did. It was a Merry Christmas and a great New Year. Looking forward to it. Really good. Blessed to be in Jacksonville for my 30th year. My family is healthy, all raised here. So you just can't. 4-12 stinks, but life is really good.
Yeah, there's no question. Life is good for me as well. My 5-year-old got to enjoy a great Christmas, and that's always a great thing this time of year. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as far as the football team, Brian, it is what it is, 4-12. But you do beat the Titans twice. And I changed my tone last week. You know, I was one of those guys where losing is good this time of year, draft positioning, that sort of thing. But it was Tennessee. And to send the home crowd out with a victory over the Titans yesterday was probably a good thing.
Let me tell you, I know the record. Do you know the Jaguars' overall record against the Titans?
Boy, I do not. I imagine it's not very good.
34-26.
Okay.
They've got it down to 8, okay? The Jaguars have won 5 of the last 6. Before Doug Peterson, they had lost 11 of 13. Why do I know all this? Because I hate the Titans, right? They were the Oilers in 95, and they beat the Jaguars in their very first game in September of 1995. In 98, they beat the Jaguars at home to prevent us from winning the division title in front of the home fans. And, of course, everyone remembers their first year as the Titans. They beat us in the AFC title game. Lots of reasons through the years. Always want to win and beat the Titans.
Yeah, and the Jaguars were able to do that. Again, only the fourth time in 30 years the Jaguars have swept Tennessee, and second time in 3 years. Doug Peterson's been very successful against the Titans. Brian, clearly the biggest story amidst a very bad season has been Brian Thomas Jr. Boy, the company he joined yesterday, joining Randy Moss, Odell Beckham, and Jamar Chase as the only rookie wide receivers in the Super Bowl era to have 1,100 yards receiving and at least 10 touchdowns their rookie year, just speaks volumes to the type of season that young man has had.
And let me tell you, I'm so glad to tell you I was wrong about him. Not that he wasn't going to be a great player, but I really wanted the Jaguars to think big in the draft last year. It was a great draft for offensive tackles, and I really thought that they needed to grab a young offensive tackle, and they didn't. They moved back twice. and still got Brian Thomas Jr. It's unanswered prayers, right? Because you're talking about a generational talent. This guy is big. He's tall. He's long, and he's hyper competitive. He's so much more than I think anybody thought he would be as a rookie. Jimmy Smith said to me on the sidelines of the Colts game when we were getting ready to induct Tom into the pride of the Jaguars, he said, I think this kid has it. And for Jimmy Smith to throw that out there, because Jimmy didn't throw compliments at all. And for him to say that, I went, okay. And what's really impressive, Ryan, and I know you know this, what he's doing without really any help. Because if you think about the receiving game, the passing game in pro football, it's not terribly different than pro basketball, right? Where you got to have shooters on the court. You got to space the court out so that people have room to work, which is what they wanted to do with Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, and Gabe Davis this year. Spread it out and make it so difficult for secondaries to defend. Well, Brian's got no spacers out there. He's doing it all on his own talent. It is incredible to think about what he'll be capable of doing with a better quarterback. No offense, Mac Jones, but with a good deep ball passer and with other receivers who threaten a defense. It's been remarkable at every layer.
Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com. It's been a joy to watch. And I got to tell you, this rookie class as a whole, Cam Whittle, 24 of 26, arguably one of the best kickers in the league his rookie year. Jarian Jones has done some nice things. And then, Brian, I don't know if you want to call it the light coming on or whatever verbiage you want to use, but all of a sudden in the last month, Mason Smith has really shown glimpses as well.
Well, and yesterday Jordan Jefferson got out there and he was disruptive and got his hand up and tipped a ball and helped the Jaguars get their first interception since the Vikings game in November. Listen, there are some good young players on this roster that have come on in the last 2 seasons. There's a lot of young talent to be excited about. It's not been the kind of year that makes you see that. But when you really focus in on a guy like Mason Smith, who has sacks in back-to-back games, was pushing the pocket all day yesterday. Even when he didn't get to the quarterback, he made the quarterback move his feet. Well, look, that's what you want a defensive tackle to do. Make the quarterback step outside into the arms of Josh Hines-Allen or of Trayvon Walker. The last couple of games, the pressure's been good because he's pushed the pocket and made both those edge rushers even more effective. Again, 4-12, I get it, but there are reasons to be excited about what this team can do. And Ryan, I don't mean to guide the direction here, but I really believe that if you fix a couple of things, you can turn this thing around quickly. I don't think the top of the division is that far from the bottom of the division.
Well, and to that point, you just swept Tennessee. You have the opportunity to sweep Indianapolis on Sunday, and certainly there'll be some things to talk about after the Colts game, and I want to get to that with you in a moment. But for the here and now, Indianapolis on Sunday, I mean, Brian, you have a chance to get your 4th win in the division to sweep the Colts. I don't know where Indianapolis will kind of be mentally after being eliminated from the playoffs yesterday. So from that standpoint, you have a nice opportunity in Week 18.
Well, and look, I mean, these are 2 areas with the Colts that you haven't been all that good at all year long. Jonathan Taylor has run for 218 and 3 scores against the Titans and then follows that up with 125 and 2 scores last week. And the Jaguars haven't done a good job stopping the run for most of the year. And then veteran quarterbacks have been able to take advantage of a secondary that hasn't played very well. So for the Jaguars to go up there with some energy against the Colts team that just clearly quit, right? That's become part of their DNA. That's twice in the last 4 seasons with the playoffs on the line against a team that was playing for the number 1 overall pick that they have choked like dogs. I think the Jaguars can go up there and get a win. And if they do, it'll be impressive because you'll be taking on Jonathan Taylor and Joe Flacco. And those are 2 players that are very capable.
Brian, 1 week from today is what everybody wants to talk about, everybody listening to us. And let's just kind of, get into it, quite frankly. You and I mentioned a lot of young players, whether it's Mason Smith, Jarian Jones, Cam Whittle, BTJ. You can go to the Ventrell Millers, the Tank Bigsbys, obviously Trayvon Walker, Walker Little, Anton Harrison, on down the line. Every one of those guys I just mentioned, in the interest of fairness, was a Trent Baalke draft pick. And I know people want Baalke gone, and most of the people want Baalke gone that are listening, to be honest. And I'm not saying I disagree with them, but I just want to point out that for everybody that's excited about this young nucleus, Well, the guy that drafted him is named Trent Baalke.
Yeah, listen, I get it. I hear the same things, whether I'm standing in line at Publix or going to the Rotary Club. He does not have a large fan club, but I think he gets the short end of the stick because he has lifted the talent level on this roster. He moved back twice, if you recall, and still got Brian Thomas Jr. and added some picks who were players that are prospects for this team. He's had 3 pretty darn good drafts. And if you go back to 2021, I get it. Trevor was right there. But Tyson Campbell and Walker Little are guys who are contributors. And Travis Etienne's been a 1,000-yard rusher and a double-digit touchdown machine. He's made some mistakes, obviously, this year in free agency. Eric Armstead didn't work. Ronald Darby didn't give much. Gabe Davis wasn't healthy, so, you can stick that one on him. But the Jaguars salary cap is largely healthy. They got contracts done for the best player on both offense and defense last year. There's a lot of things that he has done that has put this franchise in a position to flip this thing back around in 2025. And he gets no credit for that because it's not popular for people to stand up and point out the things that he's done well. But he has done that. Now, that said, somebody is going to pay the price for, in a year that the owner says it's the best roster he's put together, putting together a season like this. So, listen, Trent's been around this game a long time. He understands that people are going to point their finger at him. He doesn't like it. Nobody would. If you put yourself in his shoes and try and imagine the vitriol that he hears and can't really defend himself. So I don't mind pointing out all of the successes and all of the things that he has given this franchise in terms of building blocks to go forward. I don't mind defending him on that because those are things. And as I just pointed out, free agency was a bust this year, but he was the guy who went and brought in Evan Ingram and Christian Kirk, if you recall, a couple of years ago. Some guys that changed in 2022, changed the trajectory of the franchise. And just one more thing on this. The franchise has been so bad for so long. John Ogier has long said it, so I don't want to steal his thunder, but he talks about your foot kind of stuck in that puddle of mud, and you can't quite get it out. There's that suction effect from the mud. And that's kind of the way it had been. Well, the last 2 years, Trent and Doug, pulled the franchise out of the muck and got them to 9-8. And I had a caller to the post-game show go, well, if you just like mediocrity, well, I'll take that over what had been, right? This year, fell right down the tubes. So I don't know what Shad's going to do, and anybody who tells you they do is lying. They're guessing because Shad Khan does not talk to the media. He does not project what he is going to do. Everyone around is guessing on what he's going to do. Clearly, he has to do something. You can't go forward with things status quo based on hope and prospects of players. Something has to happen, and everyone knows it. What that's going to be? Well, until he does it, it's just speculation.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Final moments, Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com. Of course, you mentioned Doug Peterson. His future here is very much in question as well. And that does bring me to Shad. And the point I've made about the owner of the Jaguars many times is he is one of the best owners in the league when it comes to not meddling, right? Letting the football people do what they need to do. He doesn't get in the way. He doesn't involve himself. He gives you all the resources you possibly need when it comes to re-signing guys, spending money in free agency, building that beautiful Miller Electric Center, obviously keeping the team in Jacksonville. My goodness. I mean, that goes without saying. Everything he's done there has been A-plus superb. I always feel the Shad issue is that he's probably too loyal to a fault. And you think about Dave Caldwell and maybe Gus Bradley and maybe even Doug Marrone, maybe kept those guys a year or two longer than they probably should have been here. And I get the sense, though, Brian, and you've been here 30-plus years, as you mentioned, I get the sense that a lot of fans this time around, yeah, they're angry at the GM, and yeah, they're angry at the coach to an extent, but I think a lot more people are looking at the owner to make a statement this time around. Do you sense that?
What, do I hear it? Absolutely. I think people want to hear him, and probably part of that is because he was so bold as to say it was time to win, right? Which you expect an owner to say, and that the franchise had put together the resources and the players and the roster. So yes, I mean, when you make a statement like he made before the season, there's going to come a moment where you have to either defend it or you declare it. And he's probably going to have to say something along those lines about what he's going to do. I want to remind people, if it wasn't for Shad Khan, this franchise wouldn't still be in Jacksonville.
Agreed.
The commitment that he has made, the vision that he has had. He gives this team everything it needs. The Miller Electric Center. They fly on the best airplane that he can get for them. They stay in the nice hotels. He gives the checkbook to sign the free agents that they want. There is no lack of commitment on Shad Khan's part, neither to the football team nor to the market. There just isn't. So when people want to complain about it, you said it when you started with the question. He's one of the best owners in sports because he is willing to do what it takes to win. Has he made all the right decisions? Well, it looked last year like he had, and this year it looks like he hasn't. And the record, and I know you said the record, I think you say it every fifth quarter, and I hear it, and I think, oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's depressing to hear.
63 and 148, Brian.
Yeah, no, it's an awful number. And listen, he has won on some of the biggest stages in the business world. You think he likes that? Hell no, he doesn't like that. He wants to change it. He wants to be winning. He wants to hold that trophy up at the end of the year. And I know people are going to question it, but it's not like he says, I'll accept mediocrity. His actions don't say that is what he wants. His actions, his dollars say he wants to win. He wants to get it right, too. He's going to figure out what it takes to get it right. Can I remind you, though, and this is, it bears out. Not that anyone wants to hear this, but I'm going to tell you. If you go back and look at the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers, from 1929, their first year, until 1972, which was the year that Franco Harris caught that ball out of the air and gave the NFL its launching pad to where it is today, the Steelers were known in Pittsburgh as same old Steelers, right? SOS. They were terrible. They were one of the worst teams in the league for decades, and it changed. No one wants to hear this, but sometimes you bounce around until you figure it out. And hopefully the Jaguars can figure it out. I don't know what else to say because I don't know what they're going to do, but I can say this. Something's going to change because they can't go forward with it and the status quo.
It should be an interesting week. Jaguars.com, Brian, what do you guys have on tap over the next 7 days?
Jags AM will be back on Thursday, and Jags Wired will be on Thursday. We pushed everything because of the holiday. We're trying to tell a good story, and it's been a tough year to do that. I joke that if you need someone to tell a good story about a bad team, I've been your guy. Right? I've got some practice at it. But I'm real. Listen, I look at where this roster is, and I think that this can be a quick turnaround. You can flip this back in 2025.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. Like you said, the division is absolutely winnable, so things could turn around here very quickly if the right decisions are made. Brian Sexton's always the right decision for us, Jaguars.com. Brian, Happy New Year to you and your family, brother. I always appreciate you. We'll do it again soon.
All right, Ryan, to all the Jags fans out there, Happy New Year.
The weekly Pick'em contest.
Is this what I think it is?
Make the best picks and win a pizza party from Salvatore's Pizza at Tapestry Park. Pick the worst. You'll still win some pizza, just not enough for a party. Flip a coin. Make your picks at 1010XL.com.
When you roll into a convenience store for some cold Bud Light, you want to make sure it's, cold. Check out the big coolers at Circle K. They make sure it's chilled and ready to go for the big game or party. Swing by Circle K and pick up some cold Bud Light.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, you only cost for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 15th.
When my wrist pain was acting up and I needed help, I took Dan Hickens' advice and headed over to see the experts at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. This is Stuart Moore with the PGA Tour. I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. Whenever you have a need, they took great care of me. They'll take great care of you.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy. The next time you need orthopedic care, you can rely on our team at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Have you or someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI and all criminal offenses. I've been named the best DUI attorney in the state, and David has been named the best criminal defense lawyer in Jacksonville. In your battle with the justice system, there is only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645.
Go inside your home team's locker room with Jags beat reporter Hayes Carline.
Check out my blog at 1010XL.com
so you can catch all the news and nuggets you need to know.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
This is Walker Little of your Jacksonville Jaguars for Kingfish Pest Control. I've been a Kingfish customer for a while now and can confirm that their service is incredible. Not only do they protect my family from pests, Kingfish's office staff is the friendliest around. They even email me a photo of the tech before arriving at my home. Kingfish Pest Control is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Be sure to enter their Swat That Kick sweepstakes for free pest control for 3 years. Go to kingfishpest.com and tell them Walker Little sent you.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. No matter the weather, Triumph has an unbelievable selection of rides where you can get out and just enjoy the highway.
They do. The new Rocket is out, the new color schemes, the Tiger 1200, which has been revamped. These bikes are nice, gorgeous, and ready to ride.
And if you want to take a look at the selection, they can just roll into the showroom and see a full variety.
We've got them all in stock and ready to go.
So if you log on, cyclesofjacksonville.com, search the Triumph line, and then head into the showroom, you'll be impressed. Cycles of Jacksonville.
Mia here. Since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made the process so easy. She came to my house and designed a walk-in closet that's not only beautiful, but incredibly functional for me and Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 800-293-3744 or visit closetsbydesign.com. And be sure to check out their end-of-year sale, including 18-month special financing. Closets by Design.
Hey folks, Dave Binion with Zero Res. I asked my wife what she wants for Christmas, and she said the same thing she does every year. She wants a clean home full of family and friends. That means the carpets, the tile and grout, the large oriental rug in our family room, and the huge sectional sofa that everyone loves to hang out on all need a good Zero Res cleaning. Give Zero Res a call and get your carpets cleaned for only $49 a room, and get your tile and grout cleaned for 25% off. Zero Res, spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Thank you to Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com. Coming up in less than 15 minutes or so, Monday night, here on Hacker After Dark. That means a little Monday night coaching with Campo. My buddy Dave Campo, former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, joins me here on Hacker After Dark. Monday Night Football tonight, Detroit, San Francisco. First quarter action, the Niners lead 7-6. Both teams have found the end zone. Detroit's extra point was blocked. That's why the Niners have a 7-6 lead. Former Florida Gator Ricky Pearsall, a touchdown for San Francisco. Jamison Williams, a running touchdown for Detroit. Niners 7, Lions 6, getting towards the end of the first quarter. You look around the National Football League over the weekend. We talked about the Christmas games when I was with you on Friday. Boy, just an embarrassing effort by Houston. The AFC South champions just get absolutely humiliated on their home field, 31-2 from Baltimore. AFC South is a bad division. Houston won that thing, and it wasn't really even close, and they are not a good football team. The LA Chargers 40-7 over New England on Saturday. That clinches a playoff spot. What a job by Jim Harbaugh. Year one back in the National Football League, taking over a Charger team that had struggled under Brandon Staley, and Harbaugh in 1 year gets them back into the playoffs. And keep in mind, no more Austin Eckler, no more Mike Williams, no more Keenan Allen, no more Gerald Everett. It was thought maybe to be even a little bit of a rebuilding year in LA. Not the case. Harbaugh comes in there and bam, they are a 10-win football team and they are on their way to the playoffs. Cincinnati keeps their playoff hopes alive, beating Denver 30-24 in overtime. One of the better games of the weekend. Denver could have locked it up with a tie. Unfortunately for them, they could not get it done in overtime. Cincinnati scores. T. Higgins, a huge game in what might be his final home game there in Cincinnati. Bengals win at 30-24. Denver can still get in. Denver still controls their own destiny if they beat Kansas City this week. Now, Kansas City's already come out and said that they're probably going to play a lot of their backups. No Patrick Mahomes, no Travis Kelce. If I'm the Chiefs, I absolutely lay down and let Denver beat me. Absolutely lay down. Because I don't want any part of Cincinnati in the postseason. Neither does any other AFC team. Joe Burrow is a scary dude right now. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, that offense. You do not want to see Cincinnati in the playoffs. Denver gets the final spot if they beat the Kansas City backups on Sunday, and I can assure you every team in the AFC is rooting for Denver to do that. Because you much rather see Bo Nix and the Broncos than potentially Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Miami still gasping for life in the playoffs as well. They would need a lot of help, but they're still mathematically in it after their win yesterday over Cleveland. A team that has been eliminated is the team the Jaguars see this week, the Indianapolis Colts. What a terrible loss for the Colts yesterday. Playing the abysmal New York Giants, Drew Lock throws 4 touchdown passes against Indianapolis, and the 2-win Giants beat Indy, ending Indy's playoff hopes. Anthony Richardson did not play due to what is being called severe back spasms. Joe Flacco played and was decent. I mean, Indianapolis scored 33 points. They just couldn't stop Drew Lock and the Giants. But that is a bad loss for Shane Steichen and the Colts. It would not surprise me at all. And we'll go to Indianapolis later in the week to preview the Colts and the Jaguars. We'll get the Colts side of this game. It would not surprise me at all if Colts head coach Shane Steichen is probably on a little bit of a hot seat going into next year. Bad loss for Indianapolis. That's 2 years in a row they will miss the playoffs. The Buffalo Bills have locked up the 2 seed in the AFC, absolutely demolishing the New York Jets 40-14. And now all the talk about the MVP. Is it Josh Allen? Is it Lamar Jackson? I got to tell you, man, I would almost do co-MVPs at this point. I know that's kind of a cop-out, but I don't know how you can choose one over the other. Those two have clearly, to me, been the best 2 players in the NFL this year. Lamar Jackson has been fantastic, but Josh Allen has also been absolutely fantastic. Bills win the game 40-14. Denmark, if you had a vote, Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, who's your MVP?
Josh Allen. I mean, you could say either one, but Josh Allen, I think at the beginning of the year, everybody was like, oh, they're not going to be as good with the loss of Diggs and Gabe Davis. And, I mean, he went on that 2-game stretch when they played the Rams and what was it, against the Lions, where he just scored 3 touchdowns in the air and on the ground. And he had other games as well, but Josh Allen, it put the team on my back, and we're going to carry this team because of me. And, you know, I hate comparing the two because when you compare, you have to up one and put the other down. But Lamar Jackson did have Derrick Henry in a great run game, and he had a lot of the help. But Josh Allen was just so good this year, man.
No, it's fair. And you look at it, Zay Flowers is a good receiver in Baltimore. Mark Andrews is a good tight end who's coming off an injury in Baltimore. I mean, Buffalo's got some talent with James Cook at running back and Dalton Kincaid. But, I mean, I'm not exactly lifting off Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, the best wide receivers in the game. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are doing this with what I would call adequate talent around them at the skill positions, at least at wide receiver. And they have been darn near flawless, both of them. I would give co-MVPs, but I would certainly hear you if you want to give it to Josh Allen. Raiders over the Saints yesterday, 25-10. Is Antonio Pierce saving his job? I don't know. That's 2 wins for the Raiders. Of course, they beat the Jaguars last week. They beat the Saints this week. 4 wins total on the year as they beat New Orleans. Philadelphia absolutely destroys Dallas. Saquon Barkley goes over 2,000 yards. 2,000 yards for Saquon Barkley. What is he, 106, I believe, yards shy of Eric Dickerson's all-time record? And now the question is, Philadelphia, who's already got the division locked up, right? I think they can still affect their seeding between a 2 and a 3 seed. I'll check on that, but I think there is still some question there. But how much do you play Saquon? Do you try to get him the record in a, quote, meaningless game, at least for division purposes, because the division's already locked up? Denmark, do you play Barkley to get him the record?
No. And Saquon probably doesn't want to play either. I mean, remember it was about a month or so ago, they were like, hey, do you want to break your single game record? And he was like, no, give it to somebody else.
Yes, I remember that. NFL Films did a great job with that. Sirianni went to Saquon, said he was 13 yards shy of his single game high for his career. Saquon said, nope, I'm good. Let the young dogs eat.
Yeah,
that's a single game. This is the Eric Dickerson record, though.
Yeah, but I mean,
this is the all-time rushing record for a single season. That probably is a little more important.
It is, but I mean, I don't know, man. You're the Eagles. You're trying to win the Super Bowl. You're not trying to break a record, man.
Agreed. I don't know. It's 106 is right at that mark too, where it's like that's doable, right? If it was like 160, you probably wouldn't even think about it.
Yeah, but then also, too, you're playing against the Giants, where we obviously know the whole situation with him leaving there, and it's like, do we really want the guy to break the all-time rushing record against us?
Yeah.
Is that game in New York or Philly?
Let
me look real quick. Because if it's in New York, oh my gosh, that would be really bad.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at
it's
it
at
too.
Philly.
It's in Philly, so yeah.
But yeah, you can't play him, man. God forbid something happens and you can't play in the postseason. You look like a fool.
Agreed. But man, that is one of the biggest records in the NFL. The Dickerson record for the most rushing yards in a single year. Tampa Bay was a winner yesterday in the NFC South. Their win, coupled with the Atlanta loss last night, puts Tampa Bay in the front seat for the NFC South title. Boy, Baker Mayfield, what did he have, 5 touchdowns yesterday? Liam Cohen, Buccaneer offensive coordinator. I've told you guys that for a while. That's my vote. I know everybody wants Ben Johnson, and I get it. But I love what Liam Cohen has done in Tampa. And if the Jaguars are looking for a head coaching candidate in a week's time, I would not mind Liam Cohen being that guy here next in Duval County. Again, Monday Night Football going on, 49ers and the Lions to close out Week 17. The 49ers have actually added another score. They lead Detroit 14-6. Kind of a meaningless game for the Lions, right? I believe they're going to play for the NFC North regardless next week, regardless of what happens tonight. That game is a Sunday night game. The winner of Vikings-Lions will get the 1 seed, I believe, in the NFC playoffs. So it doesn't necessarily matter what happens with Detroit tonight. They're playing for their division next week against Minnesota. They do trail San Francisco right now 14-6. Halftime on Hacker After Dark, 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We will take you up till 10 o'clock as we do each and every night. Coming up next, it is Monday night. That means a little Monday night coaching with Campo. My buddy Dave Campo, former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, joins me to recap the win over the Titans. to look ahead to the Indianapolis Colts and talk a little Brian Thomas Jr., a little Trent Baalke, Doug Peterson, all points in between with Dave Campo. He's next, Monday night, Jacksonville, Florida, Hacker After Dark, and we are glad you are with us.
He may have started his career somewhere else, but he found his home in Duval.
Join me, Jeff Logman, for Check the Tape Tuesday on Jaguars Today.
Brought to you by Jack's Napa Auto Care Group.com. Go to the pros Napa know-how on 1010XL.
Awaken 180 weight loss. You know, every time this time of year, we always tell people Happy New Year, right? Well, that has never been more true for me. It's a Happy New Year. It's a Happy New Me. 2024 was a life-changing year. I can't wait to see what 2025 is going to offer, and it's all thanks to Awaken 180. In February of 2024, I was 317 pounds. As we end 2024, I'm now 110 pounds less than that. And it's all thanks to the best weight loss program I've ever been on. You've heard me talking about him for months, guys. It's a new year. If it's time for you to drop the weight like it was for me, take it from a guy that lost over 100 pounds on this program. Go to awaken180weightloss.com, awaken180weightloss.com. If I can do it, you can do it. You could be their next success story. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a professional stamp licker from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Martin Celery.
Oh, gosh. I can't wait to play, Bob.
Well, let's move things along. Tell him what he's won, Johnny.
Wait, but I...
That's right, Marty. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, we've stocked up on the remaining inventory of low-cost 2024 model air conditioners. So you win. We're passing the savings on to you.
Can I answer a question first?
We need to make room for the 25s, so we're offering great deals on AC replacements while supplies last.
Could I spin the wheel at least? I've been practicing for a year.
With last-minute deals like this, there's no question that you are cool.
What do I tell my kids?
There you go. Have a souvenir t-shirt.
Thanks.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. In our effort to curb crime, drugs, and violence during the summer months, we are offering Friday Night Lights. It has already started and will be going until school starts back. It is every Friday night from 6:30 to 9:30 at the Blacktop, 5732 Normandy Boulevard, and behind the Potter's House Christian Academy. We manage 3 basketball courts. You are not running on the cement. We have covering on each court. The Lakers, the Magic, and the Heat. Ages 15 to 40 years old. This will give them something to do other than selling drugs and getting into trouble. We have monitors there giving leadership. We have to wake up, stand up, and speak up. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. Or MattDadJacksonville.com.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach. Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
The Tom Coughlin J Fund helps families battling childhood cancer, and there are ways you can help. Go to tcjfund.org.
City Rescue Mission has been providing food, clothing, and love for over 70 years to the homeless in Jacksonville. If someone you know is struggling, learn more about the City Rescue Mission at crmjax.org.
You have healing power. Even writing a letter or volunteering can help heal a veteran. Find out more at healvets.org.
If you know someone with cancer and no insurance, call the U.S. Uninsured Helpline at 800-234-1317.
Hope Haven believes in children and youth with special needs and abilities and has developed programs to help ensure their success. Find out more about their employment services and internship program at hope-haven.org.
If you're involved in a community event and you'd like us to help spread the word, find out how at 1010XL.com.
Visionaries, builders, and doers, are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
I'm Sawyer, and a little thing that I love about the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich is the crispy chicken filet. The seasoning is so satisfying. It's what I needed, but I didn't know that I needed it. You get the toasted bun and the delicious crispy chicken. They add this fun mix with that zesty pickle. It's bold and tasty. I would give it an A+. What's not to love? The holidays are all about being together and eating together.
Sandwich in some together time this holiday. Order the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich today. Real guests paid for their testimonial.
Rev up your life with luxury at Vaughn Motor Group on San Jose Boulevard. This is the best time of year to buy a pre-owned Corvette. Used car prices are 12% lower than their peak in April of 2022. And Vaughn Motor Group has the best prices and selection right now. Come see why Vaughn Motor Group sells more Corvettes than anyone in the area. Stop in or call to start driving your dream car. Complete inventory listing online. If you can dream it, you can drive it at Vaughn Motor Group.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars coming off a victory yesterday over the Tennessee Titans. They sweep the Tennessee Titans. That is actually the second time in 3 years the Jaguars have swept Tennessee, and I want to say it's only the fourth time in the 30-year history of that rivalry that Jacksonville sweeps Tennessee. Did cost them some draft positioning. We'll get into that, but it was a good win. Brian Thomas Jr. looked amazing, and there was a lot of positives coming out of yesterday's game. Let's talk about all of it with Dave Campo. It's always Monday Night Coaching with Campo here on Hacker After Dark. The former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys joins us every week. Coach, I know you're back in town from a holiday vacation. Hope you had a good trip, my friend.
Sure did. Had 2 weeks basically of driving around Arkansas and Texas and saw a bunch of grandkids and kids. So it was a good trip.
Well, we missed you on the fifth quarter. I know we'll have you back on this week for our regular season finale. And as you can imagine, it was a fun fifth quarter yesterday, Coach, as the Jaguars got a win, and it's always good to knock off the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, you know, we hate the mayo eaters. And we certainly, you know, I got a chance. I didn't get a chance to see it. I was driving, but I got a chance to listen to it. And to me, that's just as good listening to Frangie and those guys because they do a pretty good job of explaining everything.
Well, let's dive into the game a little bit. And obviously, it starts with Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, when you talk about the rare company he's in now, Coach, 1,100 yards receiving, 10 or more touchdowns as a rookie, only the fourth rookie wide receiver in the Super Bowl era to do that, joining Odell Beckham Jr., Jamar Chase, and Randy Moss. I mean, that is rarefied air that BTJ is now in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think some of it, obviously, is once, you know, obviously the reason that you know, they didn't get to Thomas earlier is we don't know that. Obviously, he probably took a little bit of time to get acclimated and do some of those things. But once, you know, the last 3-4 games, once they started going to him, there was no question that, you know, he's one of those guys that can, you know, fortunately go forward and be a bell tower going forward.
There's no question. And look, Brian Thomas Jr., what I like about him, Coach, and you obviously know Michael Irvin very well. You competed against the greats like Randy Moss during your time in the NFL. Those great wide receivers have a moxie to them, man. They have a swagger to them. And yesterday, Brian Thomas Jr. catching a touchdown pass over Jarvis Brownlee of the Titans, and he does the too short, the too small sign right to him after he catches that ball. You love seeing that kind of confidence out of the rookie wide receiver.
Well, I didn't see it, but I saw it earlier in the season when, that he's a guy that has a tremendous amount of compete in him. And I think that's the thing that separated Irvin from a lot of guys was, he wanted that football. And he was going to make sure that the quarterback and the coach knew he wanted the football. And I think Brian can get to that. He seems like that type of a guy. And he's physical enough, and he's only going to get stronger. And the one thing he's got that Irvin didn't have, although Randy Moss did, was speed. And, that you can't compete with speed. So once he gets even more acclimated about getting off the press and some of those things, he's going to be an outstanding receiver in my mind.
Monday night coaching with Campo. My friend Dave Campo is with us here on Hacker After Dark. Coach, you look at Mac Jones yesterday, nothing too flashy, nothing too great, but he obviously took care of the football, was efficient, and he had a quarterback rating of 122, threw the one touchdown pass, obviously did not have any interceptions. And again, this is a tryout for Mac Jones, these 5 games that he's been in. He's got one more on Sunday against Indianapolis. And I think that he is showing other teams in the league that he probably deserves at least a shot at competing for a starting spot. I would love for him to be back here as Trevor's backup in 2025, but I know Mac has loftier ambitions, and he's certainly trying to become a starter once again in the NFL.
Well, he's definitely improved from game to game. The first couple there, when he's just coming off of sitting on the bench, that's a different situation. And I think he's improved. The one thing he does do a good job with, and yesterday it sounds like he did it, was he can run a little bit. And I think the combination of being able to run a little bit, he does have a quick release. He has the arm to go deep. So, I think he's proven that people are going to take another look at him. That's for sure. And the interesting one, this is going to be a big one coming up against the Colts for him, in my opinion, as far as his resume, because I believe the Jags are going to have to outscore the Colts because the Colts can score. So if he can, make some things happen along with being efficient and doing those things, it will certainly help him.
Coach, in your experience, rookies can struggle out of the gate. Obviously, it's a different world in the NFL from where they were in college, and Mason Smith is a prime example of that. But clearly, the last couple of games, he's playing his best football, had another quarterback sack yesterday. Might need to work on that sack dance, that celebration a little bit. Leon gave him a little bit of grief over that in good humor last night on the 5th quarter. But clearly, Mason Smith, from where he was in September and October, which was inactive on game day, right? Now he's one of the better defensive linemen on the team. There is no question that arrow is pointing up for him.
Well, I heard a couple of college basketball, Bobby Knight being one of them, make the statement that the best motivator is the ass on the bench. That's the best motivator. You can do all the talking and all those kind of things, but that's the motivator. And we don't know when he was inactive. He had an ankle situation. The kid maybe had to learn a little bit about being a professional. That if you're going to play, you better play. And I think he's improved. There's no question. I saw the game last week. I thought he had a good game. This week, obviously he had the sack. And, the thing that excited me the most about listening to the game was that I heard a bunch of young people's names. I heard Strange. I heard Parker Washington. I heard Brian Thomas. And I heard Mason Smith. And that's a positive going forward, in my opinion. And that's what's going to have to, be a bell cow for this team going forward as well.
Yeah, also Jordan Jefferson had a pass deflection. That ended up with the Devin Lloyd interception. So Jordan Jefferson doing some nice things. Coach, not to break down the X's and O's of kicking, but another rookie that is absolutely standing out is Cam Little. In bad weather conditions yesterday, hit every kick. Coach, he's 24 of 26 on the year for field goals in his rookie year with a long of 59. It's almost getting to the point where Cam Little comes out there and you automatically think it's 3 points. And for a rookie sixth rounder, what a year that kid has had from Arkansas.
Well, you certainly can see why he was drafted. And a lot of the kickers are not drafted. They're guys that come in and they compete for jobs and then they go. The key to this situation is going to be, can he continue it? They're a little bit like golfers. If the swing goes, they have to reinvent themselves. And at this point right now, you'd have to say he's one of the MVPs of the league because, when you don't miss field goals and you have to make them in the NFL, there's no question about it. That guy is critical when you look at the scores in the NFL, how important that position is. And I'll tell you, for a little guy, he's got a big-time leg. So to me, he's proven that he's a guy that you can win games for you, and that's a big plus.
Couple of more for the head coach, Dave Campo. All right, so we just talked about a lot of young players. You mentioned them. Brenton Strange, Parker Washington, Tank Bigsby. You go on down the line. Ventrell Miller, who didn't play yesterday, but we obviously like what we've seen there. Jarian Jones, Mason Smith, Cam Little, obviously Brian Thomas Jr. Coach, every one of those guys I just rattled off is a Trent Baalke draft pick. In the interest of fairness, how much credit should Baalke get by some of those guys?
Well, I think he gets some. I mean, obviously, he's the one that, and you don't know how much of an influence Doug has or whether or not Trent is the final say or Doug's the final say. But, obviously, those guys have got to be factors, and it took them a little while to get going. So, I think that you have to give them some credit for that. But I think that when you look at it, and I've kind of turned a little bit to the point where, when you go 5 out of the 5 and 18 over the last 23, there's going to be some questions at the end of this season about what goes forward with this team. And I think he's still in the discussion.
Look, I think a lot of people are expecting change. We'll see what happens. It's actually going to be a week from today, right? We talk about Black Monday in the National Football League. Coach, what is it like in that building this week? I mean, obviously people hear the outside noise. You don't necessarily know what owner Shad Khan's going to do. One more game, and we'll preview the Colts game in a moment, but you obviously lived this life for many years, including as a head coach in Dallas. Coming to the regular season finale, knowing there are questions about job security, I imagine that building this week is going to be an interesting place.
Well, first of all, let me just say it this way. When I got let go in Dallas as the head coach, and, I pretty much knew I wasn't going to be around for about 3 weeks. I didn't coach any differently. And I don't think any of the assistant coaches did it either. I think it's being a professional is important. And that building, obviously, there are guys with a little bit of trepidation about what's going to happen. But at the same time, I heard Nielsen speak this week in a press conference where he was talking about how much improvement these guys have made on defense, some of the younger guys and this and that. And he sounded like he's going to be coaching in the spring. So, to me, it's resumes. Resumes for everybody, resumes for the players, resume for the coaching staff, especially the assistant coaches, because the head coach really, he's made enough money probably that whether he coaches again next year is probably not a number one in his thought process, but the assistant coaches, it is. So they're going to be coaching like, this is the biggest game of their career. There's no question about that.
Final moments with the head coach, Dave Campo. That gets us to the regular season finale on Sunday against Indianapolis. Coach, they've already swept the Titans. They have the opportunity to sweep Indianapolis as well. Wouldn't that be something to go 4-2 in the division and yet still only have 5 wins total? That would be wild. And you got to wonder where Indianapolis will be mentally. They lost an abysmal game yesterday to the Giants that officially ended their playoff hopes. So there are no playoff hopes at stake at all in the Colts and the Jaguars. And I guess this is about what team is more motivated to close the regular season out strong.
Yeah, I think they're in the same position, basically. I mean, they're in a position where they're saying, okay, the resumes come out. You see which team really wants it. I think that this game is going to be a little bit tougher than the Titans, because I look at the score and I see 33 up on the board against the Giants. And obviously the Giants are not a great football team, but they did score 33. And so, you look at Flacco. I mean, he completed, almost 70% of his throws. Taylor had 125 yards rushing. They've got some playmakers, on that team. Pierce had 122 and Pittman had 109 receiving. So, I think the key to the thing is going to be how well we take care of the football and how well our secondary plays and how well our quarterback plays against their secondary throwing the football, because I think that's the weaknesses right there. It's going to be an interesting ball game. It would be great to win it. I don't care about the draft pick. Just, showing the division that, hey, listen, I haven't been convinced about Houston from day one, and I'm still not convinced about Houston. So, this division is not very good right now, but to win it, that shows that you're at least taking care of business in the division.
Well, and I think, too, you look at the fact they can have a chance to sweep Tennessee and sweep Indy, to go 4-2 in the division, Coach. That should be motivation in and of itself.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. I think that, your division is important. You have to win your division to make the playoffs, in my opinion, with this division especially. So, and that's guaranteed make the playoffs. So I think that, that motivation should be there. And if we can win another one, that's 3 of the last 4, right? If I'm thinking about it, is it?
Yeah, it'd be 3 of the last 5, yeah.
3 of the last 5. So there's motivation there for sure, along with the resumes.
You get the head coach, Dave Campo, every week here on Hacker After Dark. And, of course, 2 hours after the Jaguars and the Colts go final on Sunday, the head coach, myself, and the Pro Bowler Leon Searcy will have our season finale of the 5th quarter right here on 1010XL. Coach, happy you had a great time. Glad you're back in town safe. Happy New Year, my friend. I'll see you Sunday for the 5th quarter.
Happy New Year to you as well. And, I'm glad I'm home. Let's go. Let's get the last one.
Learn the ins and outs and ups and downs of the man under center.
Don't just watch the position, learn the position.
Friday mornings on The Drill. Denny Thompson is
the quarterback whisperer.
Brought to you by Tyson Sound and Security and George Moore Chevrolet on 1010XL.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Make your holidays bigger and brighter with PrizePicks, the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. With more than 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. The app is really simple to use. Pick 2 or more players across any sport, pick more or less on their projection, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money. PrizePicks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, is available to play in more than 40 states, including Florida. Join now, because this holiday season, PrizePicks is giving away 2 free picks in December, and they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Picksmas. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code JAX and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code JAX on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, man. Run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Hacker here, and for the first time in nearly 20 years, I finally get to have a different resolution. Like most of you, mine was always to lose weight. I'd try something for a few weeks, maybe lose a pound or 2, and then give up. Well, I tried. Starting the new year with Awaken 180 isn't a try. It's a sure thing. And why will you stick with it? Because instead of a pound or two, you'll see results right out of the gate. We all need motivation. After my first 3 weeks with Awaken 180, I was already down 30 pounds. Granted, I had a lot of weight to lose, but look at Dempsey. Look at Matt Hayes. Those guys had results out of the gate too. Dempsey dropped 9 pounds his first week. Matt dropped 12 pounds. Regardless of the weight you need to drop, seeing those fast results will motivate you to reach your goal. Guys, girls, losing weight regardless of how many times you've tried is possible with Awaken 180. Make the sure bet and make 2025 the last time losing weight is your New Year's resolution. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Have you or someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI and all criminal offenses. I've been named the best DUI attorney in the state, and David has been named the best criminal defense lawyer in Jacksonville. In your battle with the justice system, there is only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645.
Give us your hot take.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
On the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm awake and I speak English, so yeah, I do know what you're saying.
Be part of the conversation. 641-1010.
Open enrollment is here, so it's time to secure health coverage for your family. Whether you need Affordable Care Act plans, dental, or Medicare, visit one of the Florida Blue pop-up enrollment tents near you. They make the process easy and stress-free, with medical and dental insurance you can count on. Plus, listen to this. Based on eligibility, many people pay absolutely nothing for coverage. Find a pop-up tent in the Rose parking lot on Beach Boulevard near Southside, and at Night of Wonders at the Orange Park Mall. Here's a reminder for Florida Blue members. You can access Sanitas Medical Center with 3 locations around town offering primary care, walk-in services, an on-site pharmacy, and mental health support. 3 Sanitas Medical Centers and 2 convenient Florida Blue pop-up enrollment sites combined for a winning team in Northeast Florida insurance coverage.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro-Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projaxroofingfl.com.
This holiday season, send someone you love a beautiful arrangement from Kuhn Flowers. JJ here, and I know that when you order from Kuhn, you'll show them how much you care. Online at kuhnflowers.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Thank you to the head coach, Dave Campo, for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. Of course, you'll get the season finale of the 5th quarter on Sunday, 2 hours after the Jaguars and the Colts go final. Myself, the head coach, and Leon Searcy will bring you the final edition of the 5th quarter for you. Again, 2 hours after Jacksonville and Indianapolis on Sunday. Monday Night Football tonight, the closeout week 17. Pretty good offensive battle going on right now. San Francisco 21-13 over Detroit. Brock Purdy, a couple of touchdown passes and a touchdown run. Detroit, Ben Johnson, their offensive coordinator, went into his bag of tricks, did a hook and ladder where Jamison Williams got it on the ladder and went for the touchdown for about 50 yards. So Ben Johnson's good for about one of those per game, it seems like. San Francisco up 21-13. Again, Detroit, win or lose tonight, it really doesn't matter. They are playing for the NFC North Championship next week on Sunday Night Football against the Minnesota Vikings. Coming up in just a moment, Ryan Roberts, A2ZSports.com is his website. He's their NFL draft guy. He's one of our NFL draft guys, has been for years. And he's also doing more college football work. So we'll talk Brian Thomas Jr., certainly, with Ryan Roberts. But I do want to talk a little college football playoff. Yeah, just like that. We're back into the playoff tomorrow night. Boise State, Penn State in the quarterfinals. And then, of course, on Wednesday, the other three with Texas, Arizona State. You obviously have Oregon, Ohio State, and then Notre Dame and Georgia. One of the things that I hope the committee cleans up moving forward in the playoff is giving bye weeks to conference champions. I believe Boise State and Arizona State both deserve to get in the playoff. I do not believe they deserved byes into the quarterfinals, but that is where we are, and we'll see. Beginning tomorrow night, Penn State, you would think, is the easy pick against Boise, although Boise is 13-1 on the year. Their only loss came in a hard-fought game, quite frankly, against Oregon, the number one team in the land. Ashton Genty, the running back, the runner-up for the Heisman Trophy. For those of you that have not seen him, you're in for a treat tomorrow night. I know Boise State is really playing up the underdog card going into that game against Penn State. It should be a fairly pro-Boise crowd, right? That game is in the Fiesta Bowl in Tempe, which is obviously much closer to Boise, Idaho, than it is to Happy Valley. So we'll see what the crowd looks like. But Penn State, Boise State kicks off the quarterfinals. Texas, Arizona State, kind of the same thing. Not a lot of people give Arizona State much of a chance, even though they are a conference champion, even though they got a bye into the quarters. I think an overwhelming amount of people are picking Texas to win that game. Ohio State, Oregon is interesting because, again, this is a rematch from a really good regular season game. It's hard to beat a team twice. Can Oregon beat Ohio State twice? Remember, they survived a 1-point game in Eugene in the regular season. Ohio State looking for a little bit of revenge. And then finally, Notre Dame and Georgia. It's all about Gunnar Stockton, right? It's life after Carson Beck. How will Georgia fare without Carson Beck at quarterback? Because of that, I know a lot of people are picking Notre Dame to win the game with Riley Leonard and the Irish. We'll see what happens. That Georgia defense is awfully good. The Georgia skill position is awfully good. Can they overcome the loss of Carson Beck? We shall see. But again, the playoff begins tomorrow night with the quarterfinal, Penn State and Boise, and then the other three quarterfinals take place on Wednesday. Let's preview all of them. Let's talk a little Brian Thomas Jr. and a little NFL draft with my buddy Ryan Roberts. A2ZSports.com. He's been one of my draft guys for years, and he joins me next on a Monday night in Jacksonville, Florida, with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you right here on Hacker After Dark. It's 1010XL, and it's 92.5 FM.
Get insight from the Jags head coach.
I believe that our goals are still in front of us.
Doug Peterson joins the Frangie Show Fridays at 4:05. Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars on 1010XL.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web. Precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
Hi, I'm Janelle. A little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich is the bold flavors. It's very savory. And that golden crispy outside of the sandwich just lets me know that it's going to be so perfectly juicy on the inside.
I'm Sawyer, and a little thing that I love about the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich is the crispy chicken filet. You get the tenderness of the chicken and that zesty pickle. It's savory and tasty. What's not to love? The holidays are all about being together and eating together.
Sandwich and some together time this holiday. Order the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich today. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
David Lane here, and once again, I'm happy to share news of my success with back and knee surgeries at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. Whatever it is that's bothering you, take it from me. Simply set an appointment today at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists and let them help you get back to normal life. I'm certainly glad I did.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Experience the winning combination of style and performance with Renewal by Andersen, energy-efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. Right now, buy one window or patio door and get one 40% off. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months. The first 50 customers get a free True Screen upgrade, but this offer expires December 31st. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com for details.
License number CGC 1527613.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality product and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars got a big win over the Tennessee Titans yesterday. Did that hurt their draft stock coming up, though? I think they fell a couple of spots in the draft, although it was a nice win. Always nice to sweep the Tennessee Titans. Brian Thomas Jr. is an absolute star. We'll talk about that, but we're also going to talk about this college football playoff that is coming up. We got 4 really good quarterfinal games that actually begin tomorrow night. Ryan Roberts, A2ZSports.com, is one of our guys when it comes to not only the NFL draft, but the world of college football. And Ryan's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Ryan, hope you had a happy holidays, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. I hope you did as well. It's, nice holidays with kids on top of transfer portal and college football playoff and NFL season ended, obviously. So it's super busy this time of year, man. But thank you for having me, and I hope you had a great holiday as well.
Yeah, it's a wild time for you. Not only are you the college football guy for A2ZSports.com, you're also the NFL draft guy. And I want to talk about the draft before we get to the playoff. But first and foremost, let's talk about Brian Thomas Jr. here in Jacksonville. Ryan, yesterday he became only the 4th NFL wide receiver in the Super Bowl era in their rookie year to have over 1,100 yards receiving and at least 10 touchdowns, joining the company of Odell Beckham Jr., Jamar Chase, and Randy Moss, which is absolutely wild. And I guess the question, Ryan, is how did the Jaguars get him with the 23rd pick in the draft?
Yeah, I mean, there was obviously a little bit like that injury medical recheck stuff that kind of popped up late, and he was a part of a really deep and talented wide receiver group, obviously, with Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Neighbors, his teammate up top. And I think there was a little bit of overthink on him to a degree as well. Because if you would have asked me, what our rookie production might look like for a Brian Thomas Jr., I probably would have been a little bit more tame. I probably would have said like 800 yards, but he would have had a crazy yard per catch, and you would see it, right? Like it'd be there. And then probably year 2 is when he really took his massive step forward, because he ended up being, I think he may have been a top 10 player, but he was at least the top 15 player in this last class for me. I was a huge fan of Brian Thomas Jr. and the wide receiver group just in general, but I think that there was just a little bit of a, sometimes the long-term play is not the most attractive one for some NFL teams, right? Like they want the short-term payback, but unfortunately for some teams that maybe overthought him and then decided not to draft him, the Jaguars got some short-term payback as well, obviously, with him being such a dominant rookie, having such a dominant rookie season. So I think that we are seeing what Brian Thomas Jr. could be long-term a lot sooner than even I thought. Like I said, I thought he was a year 2 breakout type of guy. Rookie year was going to have a lot of flashes, big-time plays. You're going to see the plays down the field, but we are seeing that he has the potential to be one of the best wide receivers in the NFL already.
Ryan Roberts, A2ZSports.com. Now, Ryan, you're obviously going to ramp up your NFL draft stuff coming up over the coming weeks and months. The thought here in Jacksonville, nice to beat Tennessee, but the Jaguars did cost themselves some draft positioning yesterday. I believe they fell from number 3 to, I want to say, either number 5 or number 6 currently in the draft. So you fall 2 or 3 spots. I mean, how big a deal is that here in Jacksonville?
I mean, anytime you drop a couple spots in a class that I don't think is very top heavy, I think this class is defined more by depth than it is top level blue chip type of talent. I think it hurts a little bit. I mean, if you were sitting there at 3, for instance, and seemingly the top 2 teams might go quarterback back to back, you might have the pick of any of whatever position you want. Do you want to go pass rusher like an Abdul Carter from Penn State? Do you want to go with Travis Hunter, who is the wide receiver corner, potentially the top overall player in the class out of Colorado? Do you want to go offensive line? Like you have options, right? When you're number 3 behind a couple quarterback needy teams, potentially, that you had the pick of the litter. When you move back to 6, it becomes a little bit more, I don't want to say limited, because, I mean, there's going to be some good football players there, man. There's going to be like Will Johnson from Michigan, who's probably going to be there. Is Jacksonville in a conversation for a guy like a Malachi Starks even? Do they want the offense? You might have the pick of the litter at offensive tackle if you wanted as well, because I know that's been a conversation around Jaguars as well. Do you want to left tackle the future, all that type of stuff? So I think you'll still have good options. But anytime you move back a couple spots, your options become a little bit more limited. And I do think this is a class that is short on blue chippers up top. So you're probably not going to get, Travis Hunter anymore. But, will Johnson be there? Do you like a Kelvin Banks or a Will Campbell? Like, you'll still have a pick of a really good football player. It's just you're going to have less good football players in that spot than if you were picking at 3 in a different scenario.
And it's wild at the top of the draft. You look at all the 3-13 and 4-12 teams. So even though a lot of those teams aren't playing, obviously, for anything in postseason regards, Week 18, there's a lot of draft positioning coming up this upcoming week in the final week of the National Football League regular season. All right, Ryan, you are the college football guy, A2ZSports.com. Let's get in to the playoff. It begins tomorrow night. Penn State, Boise State, the first quarterfinal out of the gate. Penn State, I love a 12-team playoff, but I think the seeding needs to really be looked at next year, because Penn State got a home win against SMU, and then they get Boise in the quarters. I don't think Boise deserved a bye, but they got the bye, and here we go tomorrow night. What's your thought on Penn State, Boise State?
It's going to be a fascinating game. It really is. I mean, we talked in nauseum going up to the final playoff bracket about, what the position is. And obviously, Penn State really lucked out, getting the Big 12 champ into the G5 champ, right? Like it is a very, because after that, you would potentially get, whoever wins out of Notre Dame, Georgia would be the next step. And I mean, I would argue that's a perfect spot for Penn State if they do advance, because you're getting Penn State, Georgia, Notre Dame is going to be a really physical game. So you potentially might get a beat up team in the next round if you make it there. But I think that the first round showed us that the depth of how many good teams in college football, it's still in question, because I mean, we saw home field advantage obviously in the first round, but the team that was favored and the team that was at home, they won every football game, and in the most part, they won in blowout fashion. So, is this a situation where Penn State, who is the more talented team on paper, just goes out and blows the doors off Boise State? I think that some people are probably predicting that. This is actually pretty much my only upset pick of this round, at least from a true upset pick of a team that is, a double-digit point underdog. I think Boise State could beat Penn State. I truly do. And there's it's going to be a fascinating game because, again, is Penn State the more talented team on paper? Yes. But I do think that this is a game that if it's close, I do think that this is where coaching really kicks in. And I have been very, forthcoming on my feelings of James Franklin. I do not think he's a great in-game football coach. I think he's a really good recruiter. I think he speaks well, he articulates well. He's good in those types of settings as well. But I do not think that he is a great in-game head coach. So I do think this is going to be a closer game than people think. And I think it's going to come down to the last couple positions of the game. And I do have Boise State in an upset pick over here. Ashton GT has a run or two down the course of the game. I don't think he's going to have the most flashy stat line that he's had all season. I think it's going to be tough sledding against a Penn State team, but it's only going to take one or two in the fourth quarter, potentially pull an upset. So I do have the Broncos coming out with the biggest upset of this round, to say the least.
Wow. Penn State, Boise State tomorrow. Quickly, Genty, well, how does his game translate to the NFL?
Oh, I think it does really well, because I think that when you're talking about like what translates well, people lose their minds over testing numbers at every single position. And Genty's not going to run four flat. He's not going to be like an Adrian Peterson type of tester. But what he does really well is he catches the football, he pass blocks, and he has great contact balance. And all those things really do translate. I think that when you're talking about his gear, like his explosiveness is good. I don't think his long speed is amazing. I think he's probably going to be like a mid 4.5 guy. But it's going to be good enough. And when you're talking about the physicality.
Texas, Arizona State, kind of the same thing. Texas played in round one, yet they are an overwhelming favorite against Arizona State. Do the Sun Devils have a chance here?
I don't think so. I would love to pick Arizona State because I think they're a great story. I really like the head coach, Kenny Dillingham. The running back, Cameron Scottaboo, is a tremendous player. I think the quarterback's a good player, too, the Michigan State transfer. So there's a lot to like about Arizona State. I just think they're playing a little bit above their skis right now. Like they and this is all credit to Coach Dillingham. They believe they can win this football game, just like they believe that they could win every football game throughout this entire season. And I mean, they took care of business and they won the Big 12 championship and they made it here. And it was an awesome story, a really great story. I just think that when you do the matchups, one team to the next, right? Like, what are the keys to victory? What is the position of strength comparative to one another? The positions of weakness comparative to one another? I just think Texas is too complete for Arizona State. Like, I think I had it like 31-17 or 34-17. Like, I think they end up having a double-digit victory. Speaking of Texas, I just think that the offensive and defensive lines are just too strong. Like, we're just going to see the tackles for Texas, who are both going to be probably, well, Kelvin Banks will be a first-round pick. Cameron Williams might be a first-round pick, or see the interior defensive line. Like, I just think they're too strong in the interior. And then when they're able to overwhelm a little bit, I think you're going to see guys like Matthew Golden, Isaiah Bond coming back healthy at wide receiver. Like, I just think that they are just a little bit too talented. So I would love to pick Arizona State, but I think Texas takes care of business. And I think they do it in pretty strong fashion.
We talk about the seeding issues in the college football playoff, and this is the prime example of that. Oregon, undefeated, fought, scratched, clawed to get undefeated, and their reward for that is Ohio State in the quarterfinals, which is absolutely wild that this game is in the round of 8. What do you think between the Buckeyes and the Ducks? Obviously a rematch from a very good game in the regular season.
Yeah, I mean that seeding, I think it even goes a little bit deeper. I mean, if you just look on that side of the bracket, the fact that Oregon, Ohio State, and Texas are all on the same side is probably a little bit lopsided, right? Like, on the other side, you only have, Penn State, I don't think is quite in that tier, and then you have Notre Dame and Georgia in that conversation as well. So like that side of the bracket is incredibly strong. This was the game, though, that we knew was coming. We saw, obviously, a 1-point victory for Oregon the first time around during the regular season. I think these teams on paper are pretty evenly matched, right? Like Ohio State has been dealing with some offensive line issues, but they have been better the last couple games, specifically in their most recent playoff victory. Obviously, the offensive line played really well, but they have absolute freak shows at wide receiver, Emeka Egbuka, the freshman Jeremiah Smith. Obviously on the other side, Oregon has tremendous wide receivers in their own right. They have really good defensive linemen, and Derek Harmon, the Michigan State transfer. Like, they're two very good football teams. I lean Ohio State in this one. One, because I think it's kind of hard to beat. Like, when you have two really good football teams, it's hard to just sweep a team, right? For Oregon to potentially beat a team twice. So I think that comes into play a little bit. It's also obviously on a neutral site. The first time, just a little bit of a different, vibe to that football game the first time around. So I think that plays into Ohio State's advantage a little bit too. The fact that it's a neutral site, not a home game for Oregon. And I think that when you kind of put those all together, Ohio State's playing good football right now. And I'm not a Ryan Day fan. I really have a lot of questions about him just overall. But after seeing what they did in the first round of the playoffs, I think this team is starting to peak at the right times. So give me Ohio State in a close one, but I do think they get some payback on Oregon in this game.
Final moments, Ryan Roberts, A2ZSports.com. Ryan, that brings us locally to the Georgia Bulldogs and Notre Dame. Now, obviously, Carson Beck is not going to be playing in this game. In fact, Carson just declared for the NFL draft, but he's dealing with that injury. That throws this game kind of up in the air, right? I mean, you got an inexperienced quarterback for Georgia for the most part. Notre Dame, we know how good they are. What do you think about the Irish and the Dogs?
Man, whatever the over-under is now, I'm sure it's probably moved a little bit, but, like, take the under in this game. Like, this is going to be an ugly backyard brawl. Like, this is going to be hideous, man. It really is. If you're a defensive guy, you're going to love this game. But if you're a typical fan who just likes to watch a good football game with scoring, I just don't think this is going to be the game for you. Obviously, with Carson Beck and the throwing elbow injury that's going to require surgery, now having Gunnar Stockton fill in for him. Gunnar Stockton, former high 4-star, 5-star by some. He's a talented athlete, but how good of a thrower he'll be in his first ever start, I think people have a lot of questions. I mean, he's thrown 51 passes in his career, only 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So, like, he just doesn't have a sample size on that side of it. For Notre Dame is kind of already a run the football, ball control, play really good defense. So I think just generally speaking, when you're talking about going against a Georgia defense that is very good on the front seven, I think that this is naturally just going to be a lower scoring game. So it's going to come down to, quite simply, who can make a big play in the biggest moment of the game. The fourth quarter is going to decide this game, in my opinion. I think this is going to be a very competitive contest just in general. People are going to say this is my fandom speaking, and the fact that I have a little bit of allegiance to Notre Dame, but I am taking Notre Dame in a close one simply because I think offensively they're just more healthy than what Georgia is. Do I trust Riley Leonard to make a big play or Jeremiah Love to make a big play in a big game, in a big moment, or do I trust Gunnar Stockton or a Trevor Etienne, for instance, right? So I'm going to take Riley Leonard and Jeremiah Love to make a big play down the stretch. That propels Notre Dame to the next game. But I do think this is going to be a really tight contest. Like, this is going to be like a 20-16 game. This could be a 17-14 game. It's going to be low scoring. It's going to be a defensive battle. I think Notre Dame and the experience on offense ends up winning the game.
I don't have a dog in the fight. I just hope these 4 games have a little more intrigue than the 4 first-round games. Not a lot of suspense there in the fourth quarter in round number 1. Ryan, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville, man, A2ZSports.com and the coverage you provide coming in not only to the college football playoff, but as we ramp up draft coverage.
Yeah, I mean, so A2Z Sports has been covering the NFL side for a long time now, for years, and this is the first year that we have covering college football in like a full-time scope perspective. So, we have full-time beats for Notre Dame, for Oregon, for Ohio State, a lot of Texas, a lot of the teams that are obviously alive. So, numbers have been great. We've been talking a lot of ball. It's been a whole lot of fun. So, if you are finishing up the college football season, A2Z Sports for all the latest, not only just analysis, but like what is each side saying, right? Like, what are they saying to these press conferences? What does it mean? Transfer portal stuff. College football is is hot and heavy right now. And then obviously as we move forward, NFL draft will be even deeper into the conversation. I have a mock draft coming out this week as well. So A to Z Sports, Rise and Draft on Twitter. Hope you guys enjoy the content as always.
He's one of our favorites, Ryan Roberts, A to Z Sports.com. Ryan, Happy New Year, man. Really appreciate you. We'll talk again soon, pal.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you for your time.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
And thank you to Ryan Roberts, A to Z Sports.com, for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark, as we certainly spent some time talking about Brian Thomas Jr. Ryan's one of the main draft guys at A to Z Sports. He's been one of our draft guys for a long time. And look, Brian Thomas, I talked to Ryan many times about Brian Thomas last year. I don't think either one of us saw this. Brian Thomas becoming only the fourth NFL wide receiver in the Super Bowl era during their rookie year to have at least 1,100 yards receiving and catch at least 10 touchdowns, joining Odell Beckham Jr., Jamar Chase, and Randy Moss. That is the company that Brian Thomas Jr. is in, an absolutely electrifying year. And we also talked to Ryan about the college football playoff as well. Keep in mind, we are less than 24 hours till the quarterfinals getting underway. You got one game tomorrow night, Penn State and Boise State. The other three quarterfinals will take place on Wednesday, on New Year's Day. We will go from the quarterfinals to the Final Four. Should be a heck of a lot of fun there in the college football playoff. Well, that will just about do it. It has been a very, very busy Monday evening here on Hacker After Dark, as you can imagine, on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. We certainly have a lot of people to thank for tonight's broadcast. Again, Ryan Roberts, A to Z Sports.com. Thank you to Dave Campo, always Monday night coaching with Campo here on Hacker After Dark, the former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Stopped by as we reviewed the win yesterday over the Tennessee Titans. We previewed a little bit the regular season finale for the Jaguars coming up this Sunday against the Indianapolis Colts. Again, reminder that 2 hours after the Jaguars and the Colts go final on Sunday, the head coach, myself, and the Pro Bowler Leon Searcy will have our finale for the season of the fifth quarter program for you here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. And back in hour number one, my buddy Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com. Stop by again to talk about the win over Tennessee, preview Indianapolis, and talk about what's next, right? Obviously, 1 week from today, Black Monday in the National Football League. How active will it be here in Jacksonville? With certainly a lot of questions surrounding the futures of both general manager Trent Baalke and head coach Doug Peterson. Now, we will be back tomorrow night. Yes, indeed, we are going to do a New Year's Eve program because we're actually off on Wednesday and Thursday this week. So our final program of the year will be tomorrow night beginning at 8 o'clock, a New Year's Eve edition of Hacker After Dark, and we do hope that you join us then. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Monday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Monday evening, and we will talk to you again tomorrow night on a Tuesday to close out the year beginning at 8 o'clock. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.
Everything you need to know about your